What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, and welcome to Sequel Battles. That's the battle going on. Two fists coming in. It's like two movies. We all watch movies. We all love movies, and movies often have sequels when they're successful. So and we always like, is it better than the first one? Was it better than the last one? Which one is the best? Which one is your favorite out of the... So I want to battle. I want to talk about, sequels that, we've all watched and enjoy, and like my personal picks on who won the sequel battle. And first up, out the gate, Home Alone versus Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 3, you're out of here. You don't exist. You didn't have Macaulay Culkin. Get the hell out of here, man. Let me tell you something about sequels too. If you don't have the star, the original star, and you don't have the same director, okay, I would prefer the same director and writer, but if they're gone, there's still some hope if you got the same star. If you got none of that, scrap the project. Scrap it. Don't do it. Don't make it. Stop. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect sequels that don't have the stars. You know what I mean? It's just weird to me. To the Home Alone 3, you could have went straight to video. You could have went straight to the local playhouse. No disrespect to everybody involved in the picture, but it was a waste of time. Nobody saw it. Even the people that saw it didn't even see it. They were just looking at a blank screen. They was looking through it like, where's Macaulay Culkin at? Anyway, Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, let's get into it. Home Alone 1, 1990, one of the highest grossing comedies of all time. I saw it opening weekend. I remember when the movie was coming out, I was like, yo, I hope this movie does well. This looks like a fun time. I hope this movie is successful. I watched it, the theater was full, everybody was cracking up. It was a great time, you know what I mean? Kevin McAllister killed it. How can you not like this kid, man? He was on his own. He was charming. He was disrespectful to his mother, which I didn't like. When he called his mom a dummy, I said this before, I wanted to bury Kevin. I'm not talking about bury him in like some laundry and bury him in schoolwork and burying him in grounding. I mean murdering him and burying him in the backyard, because you don't talk to your mom like that. He was like, you dummy. I was like, I don't care what happens to this kid. At that point, I wanted the crooks to kill him. Like, I wanted them to get in there and hurt this kid because he called his mom a dummy. I don't play that. I wasn't raised like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, the movie kicks off. The movie's great. The movie's fun. You know what I'm saying? It's a holiday classic. It was number one for like 3 months. 3 straight months it was number one. Crazy. Everybody was like, Home Alone. We can't get enough of Macaulay Culkin. Let's go. The crooks is in there. The traps. And the McAllisters, man, they were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. Nobody ever talks about what they really did, but they had bread. That big-ass house they lived in suburban Chicago. And then they had all the family over, and then they were paying for everybody in the family's trip overseas. You know how expensive that is? They're paying for everybody. I'm like, yo, the McAllisters are breaded up. Let's talk about what they really doing out here. They were drug kingpins. I don't care what you say. I don't care. So they go out of town. They forget Kevin. Hilarity ensues. The crooks think they got it made. Kevin's a crafty little guy. Classic movie. So, of course, when you gross $285 million at the box office in 1990 money, you have to do a sequel. It's a no-brainer. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. We got the same stars. We got Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, Catherine O'Hara, John Hurt. The gang's all here. Everybody's pulling back up. And let's add in Tim Curry, Brenda Fricker. Let's add those guys in. You know what I'm saying? So, and same director. I'm all in. This came out in 92. They ain't even wait long. They was like, let's get this back out in theaters. It didn't gross as much as the first one. It made about $170-some million domestically, which is pretty good. About $100 million less than the first one, which lets you know that people enjoyed the first one more. They weren't going back to repeat it. But that's because it was a concept that they have already seen. Okay, it's the crooks coming back again, just in a different city. For me, a comedy like that, you have to do the premise again. Comedy sequels, secondly, rarely work. They rarely work. They rarely top the original because they're just trying so hard to relive the magic of the first one. And Home Alone 2 is guilty of that as well. Let's relive the magic. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's give you more of what you love. But it's in New York now. It's in the big city, you know what I'm saying? The first one was in suburban Chicago. They out somewhere. It wasn't a lot going on. Like when Kevin was home alone, he was more, it was chilling, it was suburban, it was quiet. Now he's in New York, Manhattan, huge hotels, a lot going on. He's by himself in a fancy room, which his parents afforded because they're drug kingpins, okay? They in New York. The room that they had, drug kingpin room. Easy. It's the suite. It's the cocaine suite. That's what he was staying in. The kilo suite. That's pure suite. That's what he was staying in. Okay. But for me, the parts where, because we're all waiting for when the crooks are trying to get Kevin. That's what we're all waiting for. We're waiting for the traps and the booby traps and him outsmarting the crooks. That's what we're all waiting for. We're waiting for a lead up to that. For me, in Home Alone 1, once his family left and it was just him, it was cool to watch, but I was kind of like waiting for, all right, when are the crooks coming? When are the crooks coming? Like, it was cool seeing him put on a little aftershave and go shopping for himself, but it was cute. Home Alone 2, when he was by himself, he had the little tape recorder, voice modification joint going on. It was just funnier until we got to the hijinks of the burglary. You know what I'm saying? You had Tim Curry in there. I love Tim Curry. Tim Curry, Rob Schneider was in there. And I felt like it was funnier getting up to the burglary. And I was just like, yo, this is dope. I'm having a good time. And then the booby traps. Now the booby traps in the first one were great. It was like, man, they were getting tore up, but they kicked it up a notch for the sequel. These booby traps were hard. These dudes should have died for sure. They should have died for sure with these booby traps. It was straight cartoonish. When he was throwing the bricks from the top of the building, that's instant death. They would have died in real life. The movie is over. Once they got the first brick, done. He's dead. Daniel Stern is dead right there in real life. You know what I mean? Forget the iron. The booby traps to me were funnier in the second one. I don't know what it was, like when he was getting electrocuted and then he was a skeleton with a fro. I know it's silly, I know it's cartoonish, but I was dying laughing. And you gotta consider, I didn't watch Home Alone 2 in theaters because I kind of wrote it off. I was like, man, it ain't gonna be as good. And I watched it on video and I was laughing hard, man. When the little toolbox was coming down the steps and it was just shaking, all the tools was flying out and he was like, do you hear something? Yeah, it's getting louder. And then it just busted. So funny to me. It's so cartoonish and dumb. It's straight Wile E. Coyote type stuff, but it was funny to me, man. I was laughing hard. So Home Alone 2 made me laugh harder. It made me laugh harder. Yeah, it didn't create the magic of the first one, but the first one was the origin. It was the origin. We had never seen it before. It was like, oh. But the second one, man, I'm laughing harder at this one. And I was just more intrigued all the way throughout this time. I wasn't just waiting for the hijinks. I was just enjoying the ride more fully. And people gonna argue, I'm probably in the minority here, liking the second one more, but I just like the vibe of New York more. No disrespect to Chicago, but I don't consider Home Alone 1 to be really in Chicago because they was in the outskirts of Chicago, so it doesn't really count. Now if Home Alone, if they were in the middle of the city, Lakeshore Drive in there, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off in it, then I'd have been like, all right, Home Alone 1. But Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, I feel like it wins the battle for me because I laughed harder at the pranks and I just enjoyed it all the way throughout. You know what I'm saying? When Tim Curry was like, a limousine and a pizza, compliments of the Plaza Hotel. I keep hearing that in my mind. And when Catherine O'Hara slapped him in the mouth, because he was like, your child is lost in New York. Everybody's out here armed to the teeth. He was like, dude, bundle up. It's quite cold outside. He just took the slap. It was just mad funny, man. And that wasn't even part of the hijinks. It was just stuff within. And Kevin's parents are horrible. They're horrible in both of them. But when you're drug kingpins, you leave your kids behind. That's what drug kingpins do. Sometimes you leave your kids behind. Like when you got to go to prison, the McAllisters went to prison. Not a lot of people know that. In Home Alone 4, his parents are in prison for drug laundering and money laundering, embezzlement, fraud, racketeering, and murder. You know what I'm saying? That's Home Alone 4, and that's the one I want to see. So y'all let me know, man. I feel like Home Alone 2 wins the battle. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Which one you picking? Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2? Don't give me a tie. Don't give me that I can't decide. Give me the hard, which one are you picking? 1 or 2? I'm going with 2. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Tony, man, that's shooting this right now behind the camera, he's going with 1. I'm sure Maya, my producer, is going with 1. I'm going with 2. Now I'm standing firm in Home Alone 2. It made me laugh harder. All right, let me know your pick in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know what sequel battles you want me to do in the future, and I'll do them. I'll do them. So the first battle goes to Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. One of the rare comedy sequels that I like better than the first. All right, man. We out here.